Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take another look at Kaiju number 8, and this is going to be a look that spans all chapters, from chapter 1 to chapter 44. There will be a lot of spoilers in here, so you have been warned. If you don't want to hear any spoilers while listening to my amazing theory about Kikoru's mother and perhaps where the series is going, you can click away right now and check out the links below the video to get a copy of Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, or the second book in the series, Humans Are Weird, I Took a Vote, Monty Python meets Star Trek in this book of human absurdity. But the idea, the concept, the theory. Now, I'm not the first YouTuber to bring up this idea, but the concept is this. Our main character is, of course, Kafka, but one of his best friends and the secondary characters is Kikoru Shinomiya, the girl who tragically lost her mother to Kaiju and has dedicated her life to defeating Kaiju in her place. Now, when we first begin to be introduced to this concept of what drove Kikoru, I assumed that she was getting a lot of this from her father, because he was the primary force in her life for most of her life, because as General Director Shinomiya says to his daughter, your late mother, meaning her mother had died when she was fairly young. Now, chapter 44 has kind of turned that idea on my head, where I believe I was wrong about what Kikoru's primary motivations were. I saw the similarities between her and her father, their mentality, that don't let anybody die mentality that seemed to drive both of them, and I assumed, based on the fact that this showed up so strongly in her, that she had gotten it primarily from her father. Well, it turns out that as much as Kikoru got from her father, she got that nobody on the battlefield dies mentality specifically from her mother, and quite possibly her father was inspired by her mother as well. To put this in a different way, I was thinking that in the previous generation, Aiso Shinomiya was the main character and Kikoru's mother was the love interest. But it's looking like it was the opposite. Kikoru's mother was the main character of the previous generation, and her father, Aiso, was the love inspiration who was inspired by her mother's sacrifice. So we have what we think to be a dead mother in the background that motivates and drives the daughter forward to become this super soldier who protects everyone under her care, and had the same motivating effect on her father, Director General Aiso Shinomiya. Now, we were all assuming that, quite logically from the clues that had been given, that Hikari Shinomiya, Kikoru's mother, had been killed in combat with Kaiju number 6, and this does seem to be what they're still saying, but I noticed something interesting. I noticed that it doesn't actually say that the Kaiju killed her directly, and as I had been suspecting from pretty much the first time Director General Shinomiya walks onto stage and we see him face down Kafka in that room, that that suit takes a toll on his body, and therefore that the numbered weapons kind of take a toll on their users. And we get that directly confirmed in this. Deputy Director Itami looks at Shinomiya and reminds him that the numbered weapons shave years off your life. And then we get added confirmation that Hikari Shinomiya died in the confrontation with Kaiju number 6, but they never say that Kaiju number 6 killed her. This has led both myself, Grimsaver, and Anime Ramble to suspect that Hikari Shinomiya sacrificed herself by driving herself too hard, and that the suit actually killed her. Now, I was listening to a conversation between Grimsaber and Anime Ramble. Shout out to you guys. That was an awesome video you did. And they discussed this concept before I could get my video out on it, so I have no proof that I didn't just steal the idea wholesale from them. And so to take revenge on them, I am going to steal another idea wholesale from them that I didn't actually come up with, but that really, really struck me and really, really got me thinking. But before I tell you what idea that is, I want you to back up now. Think about some of the main concepts we've met in this. Follow me with my logic here. So you have Kafka. Kafka, who's one of his driving goals is to take care of the people around him. Kafka takes care of Reno. Kafka wants to stand by Mina. Kafka really, really wants to help and support Kikoru, not just physically, but mentally as well. Therefore, first main interaction was Kafka smiling at her after he saved her from that kaiju and used his kaiju powers to take out the Hanju in the training situation. He smiles at her and says, you need to take better care of yourself. You need to put your own safety first. So remember that. Kafka was telling Kikoru that she needs to take care of herself, and Kafka is taking care of Kikoru. So you have that concept, that theme. Then you have the relationship between Kafka and Shinomiya Sr., where Shinomiya Senior comes in with his number 2 numbered weapon to dispose of Kafka. Now, in retrospect, we the audience know that was Shinomiya Senior putting his own life on the line, literally sacrificing years off his lifespan to save Kafka's life and give Kafka a chance to live. Because that Shinomiya Senior going in there and giving Kafka the chance to prove that he could control Kaiju number 8 under the worst of situations was the only thing that convinced the defense force to keep Kafka alive and used Kaiju number 8 as a weapon with Kafka in control instead of stripping it down and trying to use it as a traditional numbered weapon. So ISO went in there with the mentality that nobody dies. Now, we know that this ties into the chapter with that is the standard that his wife set for him, and that is the goal that he is trying to lead up to. We can suspect that he's trying not to kill Kikoru's friend. Iso is trying to live up to the reputation and the example that his wife set for him. So you have this massive loving sacrifice, and at the time I saw this sacrifice that Iso made for Kafka, I didn't know that he was literally shaving years off his life, but I can suspect that this was at the time I suspect this was a massive physical sacrifice on Iso's part. So why did he do that? Now, so you have these two concepts. Kafka caring for Kikoru, making these sacrifices for Kikoru's mental and physical health. You have Iso coming in and making this massive sacrifice that appears to be for Kafka, for Kikoru's friend. But let's go back to that conversation I was listening to between Anime Ramble and Grim Saber. They discussed the concept that it was the suit, overusing the suit into the number 4 weapon, because the number 4 weapon involved in a full body suit. They said that was what killed Hikari. It wasn't a direct blow or a stab or even like poisoning from Kaiju number 6. It was Kaiju number 4, the numbered weapon that she was using, and she basically used it until it killed her. So maybe it's like that famous legend in Japan of that general who was in battle and he fought so hard that when he died, his muscles locked up and he died standing. That's the kind of the image that it's giving us now. Hikari Shinomiya went into battle and she died standing. She fought so hard that her combat actually killed her, not a blow from the enemy. But there was another concept that Grim Saber and Anime Ramble explored. Anime Ramble brought it up. Grim Saber kind of agreed with it, that it was an interesting concept that could be real. There was another anime or manga, I've only read the manga, called Claymore. And Claymore referenced the big honking swords that the heroes in this manga used. And in this manga, there were monsters. And the heroes who battled the monsters were basically injected with the monsters' blood to give them superhuman powers. And over time, the blood corrupted them more and more, making them more and more monstrous. And when they reached the point where they could no longer control their monstrous tendencies, they had to go to another Claymore to have themselves put down. It was basically on the honor system. When you realized you reached the point where you could no longer control the monster within you, you went to someone else and had them put you down because you were about to become a monster. And Anime Ramble brought up that perhaps the long-term effect of these suits wasn't just that it killed them, perhaps it corrupted them. And maybe that the Daikaiju had perhaps come from wielders of these high-level number suits who had been corrupted. And the numbers don't quite play out for that to be all of the Daikaiju, because obviously Daikaiju number 1, they didn't have the numbered suits, and so it's impossible for Daikaiju number 1 to have come from a numbered weapon gone wrong. It might have come from a human experimentation, but that's not the theme that I'm getting. But the concept that these numbered weapons could corrupt the user's mind and basically turn a high-level Defense Force officer into essentially a kaiju by corrupting their mind and body is a very viable theory, I thought, and especially because when we see Director General Iso Shinomiya, and note that it's Iso Shinomiya we see this on, when he is turning on weapon number 2, there's a lot of talk about cell synchronization, I believe even neural cell synchronization. So we've got a bunch of safeties when he turns that thing on. We know it's negatively affecting his body. It is entirely possible that number 2 could take over General Director Iso Shinomiya. And very importantly, when kaiju number 8, not Kafka, but the kaiju that is within him, sensed Director General Shinomiya using kaiju number 2, it strongly appears that the kaiju could not tell the difference between a daikaiju like kaiju number 9, who they had fought, and Director General Shinomiya using the numbered weapon. So the kaiju, since that the kaiju within Kafka the little guy could not tell the difference between kaiju number 9 and Director General Shinomiya wielding weapon number 2. So there is in essence an aura, a distinct aura of kaiju number 2 in there. So it's entirely possible that kaiju number 4 posthumously took over Hikari Shinomiya, took over her brain, and didn't just kill her. So why, if she's dead, then why is she dead? And is she dead? That's the question that I'm asking here. And I'll make a shorter video to kind of TLDR this after this, but this is my main theory video because this is the theory. It's not, is Hikari Shinomiya dead? It's, where is the story? If she isn't dead, and we'll get into how she could be not dead, where's the story going with this? So, is Hikari Shinomiya dead? If kaiju number 6 didn't kill her, and if the numbered suit didn't directly kill her, what happened? If a high-level Defense Force officer goes rogue, and are taken over by a kaiju, what is done with them? See, we already have the answer to that question because the Defense Force was 100% willing to ice Kafka when they considered him a threat. And Iso Shinomiya was the one who came in to do it if it was necessary. And remember, this was a very emotionally traumatic thing for Iso Shinomiya. Remember that scene, that short one-panel scene when General Director Iso Shinomiya is sitting on the board of directors. He's covered in bandages. He's just risked his life to save Kafka, and they're saying the direct board of directors saying he is a threat. He needs to be put down. And General Director Shinomiya flashes back to Kafka's emotional defense. I am not kaiju number 8. I'm Kafka Haibino. Now, that clearly resonated within Director General Shinomiya. At the time, I thought it was just because he's a good soldier and he was the consummate officer. But in the flashbacks, we don't really see him as the perfect officer. He's wearing a suit and a tie. He's a dad. He's a family man. And it was his wife who was the consummate officer and soldier. So, is in that moment General Director Shinomiya reacting so much to Kafka, or is he reacting to a memory of when his wife did the same thing? Where am I going with this? If Hikari Shinomiya was taken over by Defense Force Suit number 8, there would have been very, very few officers with the power to take her down. And her husband, Iso Shinomiya, especially given that 2 other Defense Force captains had died, here's my question. Did number 6 kill them? Did their suits take them over? Did their numbered weapons take them over? Or did Hikari Shinomiya kill the other 2 Defense Force captains after being taken over by kaiju number 4? Basically, did General Director Shinomiya have to be the one to take down his wife? Think about that. So that would explain the absolute horrific trauma that we saw in his eyes at the wake. Or Did director Shinomiya not take down his wife? Is part of his guilt that he couldn't stop the threat that she was? Is that why he was so determined to either himself prove Kafka capable of controlling Kaiju number 8 or take out Kafka himself? So here we have two different traumatic possibilities. Director General Iso Shinomiya, as a much younger officer, had to take down his wife using the number 2 weapon after the number 4 weapon had taken her over, or he was supposed to do that, but he couldn't. So here we have two concepts, two very good reasons why Iso would be so traumatized and so emotionally driven to make sure that Hikaru's friend did not fall to the same fate as her mother. Now, you say the second option is off the table because Shinomiya clearly said to Hikaru that her mother died, her late mother. But number one, if their golden girl, because remember, Hikari was what Mina is now. The population loved her. If she went rogue, essentially turned evil and was consumed by the number 4 weapon, A, they wouldn't want it getting out that their suits could do that. B, they wouldn't want it getting out that their golden girl suffered such a horrific fate. And so there's every chance that Iso Shinomiya was under direct orders not to say anything about this. But C, what father is going to tell a child of that age that her mother was consumed by a demonic supersuit and went mad? So here's my question. Is Hikari Shinomiya really dead, or is she currently in cold storage, having been consumed by Kaiju number 4? Now, that's not the end of this theory. That is a very horrific theory, but I think there's a light at the end of this tunnel. If Hikari Shinomiya is not dead, I think there is hope for her. And I have compared this series in terms of writing to The Lord of the Rings on multiple different occasions. And I think this is another thing where that stands up. So we have a choice made by Director General Shinomiya to put his life on the line and risk his own life to keep Kafka alive. Now, he had his motivations for this. Kafka was a soldier, one of his soldiers under his protection, and he didn't want Kafka to die because of that. Kafka was a hero. He didn't want Kafka to die because he didn't want to punish him for his heroics. And Kafka was Hikaru's friend, and General Director Shinomiya doesn't want his little girl to lose even more to the kaiju. But I think there might have been a meta reason that it was very important that Director Shinomiya be the one to make the sacrifice to keep Kafka alive. So we will get to that in the next video, because this video is already closing in on 20 minutes. But to teal-deer this video, is Hikari Shinomiya really dead? And if she is dead, who was the one to put her down? Who killed the other 2 captains? Because remember, the resulting cataclysms from number 6's attack are the phrases that they use. Now, those could have been tsunamis, or it could have been Hikari had to fight so hard to take out number 6 that she went rogue with the number 4 weapon and ended up killing 2 other captains and having to be taken down, or not, by Director General Iso Shinomiya. So what do you think? Is Hikari Shinomiya dead? Did Iso Shinomiya have to take her out? And are we going to see number 4 again? All right. That's my video. Check out the links below the video for Humans Are Weird. I have the data. Or to pre-order Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote. More books of human absurdity. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.
The book from author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlights some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.
Order page for Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote is alive on Indiegogo. Go check out the link below the video to get your short story collection of human absurdity as seen through the eyes of our little green alien friends. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, book 2 in the Human Absurdity series, available on Indiegogo. Check out the link below.